Tonight, first-degree murder for a young offender. The 13-year-old boy pleading guilty in a Goderich courtroom. Plus, preparing for IKEA's arrival.
Because you're looking at almost 45,000 square feet and over 2,000 products that will be on sale.
The latest update on construction at White Oaks Mall. And leaving the nest for the very first time.
To see exactly what they go through and how they raise their young it's pretty touching.
A homemade haven for neighborhood owls.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight at the courthouse in Goderich, where a 13-year-old boy pleaded guilty today to first-degree murder. It's a case dating back to a 2024 stabbing attack, which left an 11-year-old girl dead. With more on today's plea and what comes next, here's Jerry Dewan.
The first-degree murder plea was heard Tuesday morning at the Huron County Courthouse in Goderich. OPP were called to the scene of the murder on July 2nd, 2024. The court heard the boy, who was 13 at the time of the offense, stabbed the victim more than 70 times and sexually assaulted her. As part of an agreed statement of facts, Assistant Crown Attorney Deanna Bronwicki told the court there were signs of severe blood loss. Her blood volume was depleted. The major mechanism of death was exsanguination. The court heard of the killer's sexual pursuit of the girl, noting that dozens of surreptitious and inappropriate pictures of the girl were found on his phone. The court also heard he had more than 2,000 internet searches for porn. Bronwicki told the court that on the day of the murder, the young man tried to touch her, and when she resisted, he stabbed her enough to overcome her resistance to sexual activity with him. The photos, along with forensic images from the case, were sealed by the court, with Superior Court Justice Mark Garson noting their disturbing and graphic nature. Shortly after the stabbing, the teen called 911, telling the dispatcher that the girl had been abducted by 3 men in a white truck. The OPP actually picked him up and drove him back to the scene. But even then, there were suspicions because he was covered in blood. The court was told that under Canadian law, a killing committed in the course of a sexual assault constitutes first-degree murder. A psychiatric assessment was conducted earlier in the proceedings, but following the guilty plea, an updated assessment has been ordered. That report and a separate pretrial report will be presented to the court on August 10th. That's when a date for a sentencing hearing is expected to be set. While a first-degree murder conviction for an adult carries an automatic 25-year life sentence with no chance for parole, a first-degree murder conviction under the Youth Criminal Justice Act carries a maximum sentence of 10 years. The sentence is divided into a maximum of 6 years in continuous custody, followed by 4 years of conditional supervision in the community. In Goderich, Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Officials with White Oaks Mall are downplaying any parking concerns as construction on the new IKEA location ramps up. It's slated to open this fall and expected to draw in customers from around our region. With more, here's Sean Irvin.
As workers dismantle the former Bay store to turn it into an IKEA, a longtime area resident is watching. Throughout his lifetime, he has witnessed the ongoing transformation of White Oaks Mall.
I've seen it from Woolco to Walmart, and when there was a grocery store in there, and I've seen it all.
And now London is a witness to the earliest stages of a new concept for IKEA. After pulling back on plans to build a full-size store in London and later closing a smaller location, this concept of a mid-sized store is generating excitement, at least according to mall officials.
Because you're looking at almost 45,000 square feet and over 2,000 products that will be on sale here in London for you to browse.
Once complete, this new IKEA store will be about 1/5 the size of the traditional store in Burlington. Now the question is, will this London location be enough to draw people in? And if so, will there be enough parking? With construction ongoing, this man had a parking section to himself just before the mall opened. Picture 6 months from now when this store, they say, is ready to go. Do you think you'll be getting a parking spot?
It's gonna be hard. Like, this is already a busy spot over here.
But mall management confirms it is working with IKEA to ensure there is plenty of space, adding that both parking garages will remain for some time, even with future development plans in place. That's good news for shoppers.
Who knows, maybe in their wisdom, they'll build a 2-tier, 3-tiered parking over here.
And with most in-stock products expected to be compact in size, patrons will also be able to use the bus rapid transit system when it debuts. Either way, for some, driving out of town to visit IKEA is about to be a thing of the past.
You know, having something here in the community will help, especially, you know, when you got a lot of students coming in, you know. IKEA is your one-stop shop, right?
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Good evening. It was an absolutely picture-perfect day in southern Ontario. Once again, sunshine, low humidity, and temperatures in the low to mid-20s. London hitting 25 degrees, and that's where we're sitting right now. A bit cooler, though, along that lakeshore. We remain under a northerly flow, and that northerly flow coming off the lake is keeping the cottage areas on the chillier side, especially if you're at the beach. Skies will be clear tonight, cool and comfortable. It'll be your last cool night before temperatures start to warm up. So as we push through the evening, the temperature will dip down to about 16 by 10 o'clock. The winds continuing out of the north. Coming up, we're heating up as we head over the next couple of days, and the sunshine holds until Friday. I'll take you through the forecast in just a few minutes. Carlyle?
Thank you, Julie. Officials with the London Fire Department say yesterday's rail yard fire caused about $100,000 in damage. Crews were called to the Elias Street property in the afternoon after numerous rail ties caught fire. They say 2 rail cars were also damaged by the heat. Thick black smoke was seen rising over the city. No injuries were reported. Union leaders say almost 24 frontline positions have been cut at the London Middlesex Children's Aid Society. According to representatives for OPSU Local 116, members received layoff notices late last week as the organization faces an almost $6 million deficit. In a statement, Children's Aid officials say the changes will result in 23 job cuts. However, they'll be able to hire for 17 new positions once this restructuring is complete. The owner of a shopping plaza fronting the bus rapid transit route on Wellington addressed City Council today, warning the loss of left turn access would lead to a significant reduction in property value.
I think it's fair to say we're being threatened with litigation if we don't back down from something that, in the opinion of our staff, is a standard safety feature.
A lawyer for Skyline Retail Holdings argued City Hall must install an additional traffic light between Wellington and Commissioners to maintain left turn access. However, city engineers say having 3 traffic signals from Baseline to Commissioners would impact vehicle flow. Northbound traffic will be allowed to make a U-turn to access the plaza in the future, and Council approved expropriating a slice of the property to permit BRT construction.
The property will be continued to be served with protected turning movements to access the property at the signalized intersections at both Baseline and Commissioners Road. Over time, users will adjust to new traffic patterns.
Family members delivered an emotional closing statement today at the inquest looking into the death of an inmate who died while in EMDC custody. With more on their message to the jury, here's Nick Paparella.
The mother and father of 29-year-old Drew Pearson admitted that their son dealt with his own demons. But in their closing addresses, Judy and Phil Pearson told the inquest jury that their son didn't deserve to die on a cold cement floor on December 27th of 2018. Pearson, who had drug issues, was homeless at the time he was arrested on arson charges in connection to this blaze at a St. Andrew Street boarding house. He was booked at the cells at London Police Headquarters, made an appearance at the London Courthouse, and was then taken to the Elgin Middlesex Detention Center. All along, he complained to those in charge about a sore back and ribs and requested to be taken to hospital, but he was denied. Within hours, he died from sepsis. His mother told the inquest it never crosses their mind that something else could be going on internally that they can't see, that bacterial infection brewing in his body. Through tears, she continued, why couldn't Drew have been lucky enough to have that person who realizes the responsibility they have for a person's welfare and safety? That person could have been a hero. They probably would have saved our son's life. When some witnesses told the inquest they wouldn't have done anything differently, Judy Pearson tearfully said, you would think and hope everyone would be questioning what did we miss, And what can we do better? Otherwise, what is the purpose of this inquest? She went on, did he not deserve kindness to know that someone cared? Pearson's father, Phil, was also very direct, saying, innocent or guilty, he didn't deserve a death sentence. He was neglected and ignored with his request to go to the hospital. He went on, I don't understand the decisions of these people. They have no idea of the young man who died in front of them. With the mother saying that Drew deserved better, Phil Pearson wrapped up by saying, Drew, I'm sorry and love you, and I'm not sure exactly how to carry on, but for you, I must. The inquest is expected to be in the hands of the jury for their recommendations on Wednesday. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Provincial politicians are getting an extra long summer break. The legislature rose today, concluding a brief session, and now they won't be back in their seats until late October. Siobhan Morris reports.
It's the pageantry that puts a period on the spring session of the Ontario legislature. Just 30 days inside Queen's Park, packed with controversy for Premier Doug Ford and his government.
He spent their money on a luxury private jet. He sold out the Toronto waterfront to American investment bankers. And he changed the laws of this province to hide his cell phone records.
By the time MPPs are all back together, leaves will be falling off the trees. The legislature on recess until October 27th.
It's not a break. We are going to be extremely busy with public hearings, with committees, with conferences. You will see MPPs in every corner of this province.
The Premier defends his work ethic. He says his schedule is packed, including with work trips to the U.S.
Rather than sitting here and arguing with each other, we're actually going to get out there and talk to the people and start bringing more jobs to Ontario.
But critics argue it's more about ducking accountability.
It's wrong, and the government's just getting the habit of doing this. They don't want to be here. They don't want the scrutiny.
There is a second part of the government's justification of waiting until late October to reconvene.
We don't want to interfere in the municipal elections.
Opposition leaders counter that in the last few weeks, the government's expanded the powers of regional chairs, muscled in on the deal governing Toronto's Island Airport.
They directly interfered in Toronto elections back in 2018. So it's BS if the government's not bringing us back because they don't want to interfere in municipal elections.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Sarnia police say they've charged a London man accused of throwing a rock at MP Marilyn Gladew's constituency office. According to police, the man was wearing a mask, throwing the rock at the glass front door last week. They say the glass did not break and the suspect was arrested in the parking lot and no injuries were reported. Young girls from across the region were invited to the London airport today for the 3rd annual Girls Aviation Day. As Brian Bicknell reports, it's an event aimed at getting more women into the industry.
Their feet on the ground, but their dreams in the clouds. A day for girls to learn about everything aviation and the high-flying careers that it offers.
Well, I never thought about it before, but now it sounds like really fun. I've learned a lot about how planes and drones work, things like that. And I've learned that there's a lot of women that work in STEM.
The 3rd annual Girls Aviation Day took place at London International Airport, welcoming more than 1,000 girls from grades 6 to 8 from 5 area school boards.
We know that they are underrepresented, and many times when we think of aviation, we think of pilots, but we don't know of all the other careers and opportunities. So we want them to be able to visit the industry partners, build relationships, and have those memorable experiences that they know that there's a place for them in the future.
An opportunity to get up close to aircraft and engage with interactive stations led by female professionals and students in the field, including Kalea Corneli, whose job is to test fly new planes.
They need a test pilot and a flight test engineer to fly the plane for the first time. So at the International Test Pilot School, we're taught how to do that. We're taught how to risk mitigate. We're taught what flights to do, what maneuvers to fly, how fast, how high.
The event was hosted by Women in Aviation International, along with Fanshawe and Western.
How many times do you fly on a commercial airline and see a female as your captain, or even as a first officer? You really don't. And it's hard to want to do this when you never see it. So I want to encourage them and show them that they can do it too.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
A southwestern Ontario man is providing a glimpse into the lives of a young family of owls. He set up cameras in his backyard, capturing their major milestones as they get ready to leave the nest. With more, here's Travis Fortnum.
In a Windsor backyard, a month-old eastern screech owl works up the courage to leave the nest for the very first time. A monumental step in an owlet's life, one its sibling took earlier this same spring morning. Now it's taking in the world from a nearby branch. Their departure all caught on cameras set up throughout Chris Jacobson's backyard.
I don't think I ever saw an owl before this started, and now I kind of live in the owl house all winter and all through the spring. It's like I'm there.
Jacobson built his first backyard owl house 8 years ago after noticing the birds seemed to love the neighborhood. The cameras came a few years later.
To see exactly what they go through and how they raise their young it's pretty touching.
And now he shares regular video updates through nesting season, offering thousands of people from all over a rare, up-close look at the mysterious birds.
I try to post in the morning, and people get to see that first thing in the morning, and hopefully they see it before all the crazy news that's going on in the world, and it just seems to make their day.
Jacobson says a female owl typically moves into the house in the fall, spending the winter there. Mating season begins in late February. This year, 4 owlets hatched in early May. This one's already left the nest, becoming the 16th young owl to fledge from Jacobson's backyard since he put up that first owl house. With this little guy getting ready to be the 17th, and 2 more still waiting inside.
And then by fall, we'll have another adult here, and it'll start all over again.
For Jacobson, the project has become more than a hobby. It fills his days in retirement, connects him with people across North America, and gives others a chance to start their day with a little wildlife wonder. Travis Fortnum, CTV News.
Coming up, a ticking clock on trade negotiations. Canada's delegation arrives in Washington with the fate of a deal uncertain. Plus, back at it with the 51st state, the latest threats from the White House and the response from Canadian leaders.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. The federal minister responsible for U.S. trade negotiations is in Washington, leading a delegation into a high-stakes meeting with American officials. Before that, he issued a letter to the U.S. and Mexico calling for a lengthy renewal of our continental trade agreement. Abigail Beeman reports.
Minister, what are the goals of this meeting?
The goals of this meeting is to be able to tell you how well it's gone when we finish at 5 o'clock this afternoon.
The Canada-U.S. trade minister and chief negotiator in Washington to talk with the top U.S. trade rep, Jamieson Greer. Dominic LeBlanc issued a letter to the U.S. and Mexico officially stating Canada's recommendation for a 16-year renewal of the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Free Trade Agreement.
We took stock of the work that the Americans want to do with Canada and the work that we're prepared to do over the coming weeks. I remain optimistic about the work that we can do with the Americans.
While a delegation from Manitoba was also here Tuesday, separately meeting with other U.S. trade officials.
There's clearly a path forward. There's clearly an importance for both countries as well to find a solution to this. So, I think we heard clearly what some of those irritants were. I think there's a path that we can make these kind of go away as well, though.
The U.S. has made its irritants known. The booze ban, supply management, and the Online Streaming Act high on the list, with one source today quoting frustration from U.S. officials who said dealing with Canada has been a roller coaster.
He seems to go and socialize and come back empty-handed while the Mexicans have been in formal negotiations, eating our lunch for the last 6 months. I am concerned that Mr. LeBlanc goes down at a time when Mark Carney has led us into the only recession in the G7.
The Prime Minister, meanwhile, tried to downplay the idea Mexico is further ahead in talks.
There's a series of issues, technical issues that they have with Mexico, they have with us, which is why there's a bifurcated discussion. So 30 issues or so with us, more than almost 60, I think, with Mexico at current count. And so we're working through a series of those issues.
Mexico has already wrapped up one round of trade talks with the U.S., with 2 more set, leaving many worried about where that leaves Canada ahead of a July 1st deadline. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Washington.
Meanwhile, the American president is reviving his threats of making Canada the 51st state. With more on that and the response in Ottawa, here's Rachel Aiello.
The U.S. president is at it again, taking to Truth Social last night to call Canada the 51st state, a message amplified this morning by the American ambassador to Canada. Prime Minister Mark Carney said despite the rhetoric, it's an administration Canada has to work with.
We take the administration as it is and are working together in a number of areas. Canada strong.
This less than a week after Carney said a strong Canada would help make America great again. And that line was one U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra said was worth repeating. Asked what he makes of Donald Trump using recession talk to revive the annexation taunt, Pierre Poilievre called it ridiculous.
We have to make sure that we don't allow ridiculous comments like that to distract us from the very real suffering that Canadians are experiencing. The regret that Mr. Carney has created this weakness going into formal negotiations.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford also pushed back, while noting Ontario created 380% more jobs than the U.S. per capita in April.
Yeah, here he goes again. Here goes President Trump again, 51st state. I get tired of that guy.
These Canadians weren't worried about the U.S. trying to use our economic slowdown as leverage.
We got lots of opportunities here. We are a country with minerals. We are a country with professionals.
Canadians will have none of it. Does Trump even know what leverage is?
This is not just Canada that's experiencing the economic issues. It's a worldwide thing.
While the Canadians we spoke to didn't express the same concerns, today the opposition called on Carney to present a plan to reverse the recession so that Canada can go into this summer's trade talks in a better economic position. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A new Nanos poll is suggesting there's broad support among Canadians for overhauling healthcare systems across the country. The survey found a vast majority of respondents said they're frustrated with long wait times and chronic understaffing. Andrew Johnson reports.
She got her own bowl of Cheerios last week for the first time.
Jen Dunn still remembers how she got her daughter Kaya, who has severe autism, a referral to a pediatrician. How could she forget?
I'm not exaggerating. I was on my knees in tears. And I said, I'm not leaving here until I get some help. Nobody will help me.
Hours spent in waiting rooms or months on referral lists. Don't pass quickly.
Any kid on the spectrum, it's just so hard for them to wait.
Dunn's number one focus is her daughter, but her own care situation is bleak. She last had a family doctor a decade and a half ago.
I was pregnant with my daughter, and she just turned 16. I have gone on extensive wait lists, but I never get, it's like a lottery to get in.
Dunn's experience is echoed in a new Nanos research poll of 1,000 Canadians who most commonly named long waits their number one healthcare concern, followed by poor access to services and shortages of both doctors and staff. More than 90% of Canadians polled say something needs to change. More than 2/3 are open or somewhat open to having providers use AI to assist with diagnosis and treatment plans. 60% expressed openness to allowing private organizations to deliver publicly funded surgeries and diagnostic tests to reduce wait times.
The health system generally is so hard to turn this big ship around, whether it comes to using virtual care, allowing health professionals to use AI, allowing health professionals to do more of the things that traditionally doctors would do.
Only 14% of Canadians polled believe the healthcare system is headed in the right direction. No matter the solution, and a fix won't be simple, almost everyone agrees something is seriously wrong. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Back on the desk with Julie Acheson now. After a stretch here, I think we've been using the term Goldilocks zone is what it's felt like. It does sound like that period is maybe coming to an end because we're heading in a hotter direction.
Yes, temperatures are headed up over the coming days. Tomorrow, you'll notice a tiny change, not major, but by Friday we'll be right into the heat and humidity, so definitely out of that comfort. Conditions across our area today, 25 degrees are high, so coming in a touch above normal for this time of year, and still nice and cool in the morning. Out there right now, 24 degrees. As we look along the shoreline of Lake Huron, temperatures a bit cooler into the upper teens, but you can see in the interior temperatures hovering between 22 and 24. As we look across the country tonight, still quite cool in Calgary and dealing with that heavy rainfall since Saturday. So Calgary and areas of southern Alberta have been on the western periphery of this upper level block, and as a result, they've had days of rainfall. So low pressure at the surface has been generating rain, and they've received between 50 to 140 millimeters in some areas of rainfall. Of course, that's led to some flooding and some concerns with waterways. As we edge across the prairies tonight, we do have a couple watches and warnings in effect. We have some thunderstorms that are moving through southern Manitoba and still some heat warnings in place. Northern Ontario, frosty conditions expected overnight. So we have the whole gamut of weather. We still have rain and cool conditions in the Maritimes. Cool tonight for us. Temperatures quite comfortable. Keep those windows open. First thing in the morning, temperatures will be nice and fresh as we drop down between 8 and 10 degrees. Going out 48 hours, not a whole lot to show you in southern Ontario, but we start to see signs that this upper level pattern is breaking down. We'll remain under the influence of high pressure over the next couple of days, but we'll start to see some fair weather clouds move in. We do have some rain that'll be starting to move towards northern Ontario, and eventually our ridge will be shifting. So the upper level pattern breaks down, and at the surface, we will see that ridge of high pressure replaced by a frontal system coming in for the weekend. So the next couple of days look absolutely beautiful. If you are hoping for some summer heat, this forecast will bring it your way by Thursday, Friday. But tomorrow, another gorgeous day, mainly sunny, low humidity, winds will be light and variable, and the forecast high coming in at 26. By Thursday, we could hit 30 degrees. Friday, 31. Now, Environment Canada going even hotter than 30 to 31. So keeping a close eye on that. We are going to go from feeling quite comfortable to feeling extremely hot. So just be aware as you plan all your outdoor activities. Overnight lows start to creep up as well. We hold on to the sunshine Friday. By Friday night, the clouds move in and we have the chance for some showers. Rain in the forecast both Saturday and Sunday. The rainfall probability on Saturday, I think, might be a bit low. Looks like we will see more of a widespread rain moving in. I'll keep you posted on that. 26 heading into Monday with some showers. Again, just a 40% chance, and 28 on Tuesday with a mix of sun and cloud. Anyone who's laying sod, who has planted flowers out there, and of course farmers looking for some rainfall, hopefully it will deliver this weekend. Midwestern Ontario, lots of sunshine heading into tomorrow, heating up of course as we roll into Thursday and Friday. And then we have some showers in the forecast Saturday, but looks fairly dry on Sunday with just 30% chance, and some light rain on Monday, but transitioning Carlyle into a more summer-like pattern, especially in the extended forecast. So we're going to break out of the intense heat. Temperatures dip a bit next week, but we'll be talking humidity once again. So the upper air pattern that's been delivering us this beautiful northerly flow of air will be history as we head into Friday and the winds kick back around to the south.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. Still ahead, pricey premiums, the rising cost of insurance, despite the fact vehicle theft numbers are falling. And later in the newscast, it's Behind the Lights with Lauren Stallone. What are we talking about this week, Lauren?
We're going back in time to high school, one of the biggest parts of high school, prom.
All right, that's coming up. Stay with us.
Did you know we have a chance for you to win VIP tickets to Bailey Zimmerman, and all you have to do is listen to Pure Country.
Yes, anytime you hear him back-to-back, we call her 25, and you could be qualifying. More details online at purecountry93.ca.
Local real estate sales picked up last month. According to the London and St. Thomas Realtors Association, 776 homes sold in May. That's up from 638 in April. That's also a 9% increase compared to May 2025. The average sale price rose, now above $660,000 compared to about $620,000 the month before. Officials with Stats Canada are beginning in-person follow-up visits with households that have not yet completed the census. They say millions of Canadians have already responded online, on paper, or by phone. Representatives will now start contacting households that did not fill out the questionnaire by phone and with door-to-door visits. They'll also offer assistance for anyone who needs it. The census collects demographic, social, and economic information from across the country, meant to provide data for future decision-making on programs, services, and infrastructure. The number of stolen vehicles in Canada dropped last year nearly 20% compared to 2024. However, as Pat Foran reports, that's still not enough for car insurance providers to keep premiums from climbing.
The 2024 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro is a nice truck, and Bart Keller of Alliston is frustrated that his pickup was almost stolen again for the second time. Along with the latest in security equipment, he also has video cameras installed inside the truck.
Well, I have the immobilizer, the dash cam set up. I have a tag system on it. I pretty much protected myself as much as I can.
The first time the vehicle was almost stolen was from his driveway. His camera caught thieves as they used a grinder to cut through a steering wheel lock. Because Keller uses an immobilizer, the thieves were unable to steal his truck. Eventually, they gave up and left.
When they did that, the sparks went everywhere inside the car, you know, the windshield, the roof. So there was quite a bit of damage done there.
Last month, while he was at the movies, thieves tried again to steal his vehicle. They broke windows and used a hacksaw.
They cut through the steering wheel, and it's a bit of a problem because it's a very expensive steering wheel with the airbag and everything attached and all the media on it.
Eventually, the thieves also became frustrated by the immobilizer and left, but Keller's video clearly shows one of the suspects. He handed over the video to Peel Police, and 2 days later, an arrest was made.
I'm really happy to hear that they've been apprehended and charges are pending.
A police spokesman said they couldn't comment as the case is before the courts. Keller says even though his truck was not stolen, the vandalism and damage caused still requires thousands of dollars in repairs.
I just hope this doesn't keep happening. We need change. We need to stop this.
Keller recommends investing in security equipment to prevent your vehicle from being stolen.
Now, I want consumers to protect themselves. Get yourself an immobilizer. Get yourself those extra little add-ons because I've seen my vehicle twice already.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index reached a new record high today, helped by gains in the energy sector. The TSX is up 435 points. In New York, the Dow added 228, the Nasdaq up 7. The Canadian dollar gained a modest 0.02 on commodity markets. Gold is up more than $13 an ounce. Oil added $1.60 a barrel.
We'd have to take over OAS and child tax benefit, probably another $10 or $15 billion.
Still to come, a costly endeavor. The message from Alberta's Premier about the price of independence. Welcome back. London police say they have a suspect in custody and they're still looking for a second after guns and stolen motorcycles were found in East London. According to police, officers executed a search warrant last month at a home near Egerton and Grafton Street. Police say they found 2 guns, one of which was loaded, along with 3 motorcycles. They say they're now looking for 36-year-old Johnny Grebenchan, who faces several charges and should not be approached by the public. Alberta's premier says it will cost her province hundreds of billions of dollars to separate from Canada. That message ahead of a referendum later this year, which could set the stage for official independence. Tyson Fedor reports.
Premier Danielle Smith says Alberta would need to assess almost everything found at a national level to determine a financial cost to separation.
We now have a 5% NATO commitment. We've never had a national defense before. What would that cost? That's about $25 billion. We'd have to take over OAS and child tax benefit, probably another $10 or $15 billion. We'd have to set up the infrastructure for CPP and EI.
The UCP government says Alberta's share of the national debt is around $170 billion, with $10 billion annual interest payments. The Premier says the cost will be enormous if Albertans vote to start the process of leaving Confederation.
I think it's responsible for us to be very forthright the costs associated with what it is that is being proposed here, so people can make an informed decision.
Alberta Finance Minister Jason Nixon is expected to have a cost analysis sometime this summer ahead of October's referendum. Next month, one prominent pro-separatist promises to release a white paper outlining the policy and finances of independence.
I think that it's important to have the discussion, and it's been going on for a while, and people are going to do what they want to do, so let them, I guess, and see what happens.
It's a big waste of money. I've been here all my life. I'm Canadian.
On her radio show over the weekend, Smith says she takes the separatists at their word, at least in terms of petition support, even though 301,000 signatures have not been validated by Elections Alberta. It comes as the organization says there has been misunderstanding and misinformation around Thomas Lukaszik's Forever Canadian petition, which asked Albertans if they want to remain in Canada.
There was no clear idea of what no meant. The referendum question proposed was, do you want to remain in Canada, yes or no? And so we had to do some work on defining what no meant.
Elections Alberta says in a statement that the proposal put forward by Thomas Lukaszik did not seek to amend the Constitution or propose new legislation. The only available option for the initiative was a policy proposal.
Instead of doing the right thing and resolving this issue in the legislature, the Premier is trying really hard to appease the separatists, and she's putting us through a $90 million exercise that is going to divide this province and detract from investment in this province.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
Canadian biologists have captured new video footage of cold water corals found near Newfoundland's famous Grand Banks. And they were in Ottawa today showing off their discoveries, bringing viewers closer to deep water habitats. With more, here's Garrett Barry.
See, for the first time, these secrets of the sea.
For me, it's like watching a different movie every time the video and the camera comes up.
Hundreds of kilometers off the coast of Newfoundland and hundreds of meters underneath the surface, these ancient cold water corals have never been seen before.
It's pitch black going through the water column for the longest time, and then all of a sudden this vibrant and textured landscape comes into view.
Until now.
You see something brand new that's never been seen before. It really gasses you up and keeps you going.
Isabelle Jubenville was on the Polar Prince for an expedition between Oceania Canada and DFO. The team captured this footage using a drop camera system, bringing light to these mysterious and incredible creatures.
Because they grow so very slowly, they actually hold a record of geological history in their tissues. So, different isotopes of elements that exist in different quantities over time, that's actually registered within the structure of the corals.
A living history book. And these are the building blocks of the ocean.
They give us an answer as to why the waters off Newfoundland and Labrador are so rich, why we have such a long history of commercial fishing, almost 500 years, if not longer.
Now, researchers with Oceania are in Ottawa tonight to show off what they found at this southern Newfoundland slope, sharing this find and maybe highlighting what's out here, what might be worth further study and protection. Garrett Barry, CTV News, St. John's.
Tomorrow on CTV News, what does a technical recession mean for the local real estate market? We look into the impact tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
A beautiful capture to share with you this evening. Thank you so much to Derek Blake for sending this photograph in, taken in London. Lots of sunshine Wednesday, Thursday into Friday, and temperatures are set to soar. You'll notice the humidity creeping back in as we edge toward the weekend. We do have the opportunity for some rainfall Saturday into Sunday.
Ukrainian authorities say a recent Russian attack killed at least 18 people in several cities while injuring more than 100 others. They say more than 600 drones and more than 70 missiles were launched, stretching from overnight into today. Russian officials had warned of a massive aerial attack in recent days. The Ukrainian president is appealing for more U.S. and European support. Commemorations today in Italy, marking the Republic's 80th anniversary. Italy's president placed a wreath at the Unknown Soldiers Memorial Monument. A vote was held on June 2nd, 1946, electing the Constituent Assembly, which would go on to draft the Italian Constitution. It also included a referendum to determine the country's future political system, a monarchy or republic. State authorities in Florida are suing OpenAI and its CEO, Sam Altman, accusing the company of misrepresenting the safety of its platform.
For endangering our kids and deceiving parents into believing that this application is safe for use. It's clearly not.
The lawsuit cites a deadly shooting at a university in Tallahassee last year, as well as several other incidents where it's claimed ChatGPT provided information to people who went on to carry out violence. The lawsuit accuses OpenAI of deceptive and unfair trade practices, negligence, and violating product liability laws. That legal action comes more than a month after 7 lawsuits were filed against OpenAI by families of victims in the Tumbler Ridge mass shooting. The company and its CEO are accused of ignoring the shooter's troubling interactions with ChatGPT before they killed 8 people, including 6 children, back in February. A mother in the Ottawa area is offering other parents a chance to help their kids ease into life with a cell phone. She's launched a program that restricts what apps can be installed on the device, keeping in mind the harms social media can cause. With more, here's Kimberly Johnson.
What Teo Knight loves about his cell phone is being able to listen to his favorite music.
I just need headphones in my phone just to listen to my own music.
And while this Android phone may seem like any other, it's actually set up in a way that limits his access to certain content. No social media, no app store, and no internet browser. Just the ability to call, text, and access Spotify.
We want them to have access to music. We want them to be able to text us when soccer practice ends early. That doesn't mean that we want them watching endless videos off by themselves, kind of thing.
He has a playlist that's for like his before soccer that pumps him up.
It's part of a pilot project started by parent Anne Fiset, which she has dubbed Boom Track.
I was just trying to figure out how can I create something that would satisfy him and what he needs in terms of like the developmental milestones that he's hitting, and at the same time protect him.
She purchased an Android phone and when setting it up used a management device on her computer to control what gets placed on the phone. It's similar to what workplaces will put on employees' phones to restrict some apps or abilities.
This isn't something incredibly new. It's just we haven't used it in terms of for kids.
Still, one tech expert warns the smartphone technology still exists under the surface of the phone, and parents should be cautious.
Any tech-savvy kid can go online and figure out how to bypass them and regain access to app stores and browsers and other features.
Today, Fiset says that she has nearly a dozen parents participating in the project. She's currently covering all of the setup costs, but hopes to expand this to a business if there's enough interest.
It feels like I'm actually part of everything and I'm not missing anything.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
Uber has released its 2026 Lost and Found Index, detailing which items riders left behind in vehicles in the past year. Phones, wallets, and bags top the list, but Uber officials say some riders also left behind some unusual possessions. Those include a 15-pound turkey in Toronto, a full set of goalie pads in Edmonton, and a violin case in Montreal. The data also suggests Saskatoon is Canada's most forgetful city. And on the other side of the break, it is Behind the Lights with Lauren Stallone. Julie's back with us as well. It is prom season, Lauren.
That's right, and we have the prom expert, Julie.
Okay, I've been to a couple proms in my day for sure, but my son has his prom coming up.
All right, we're going to dive in. Stay with us on the other side of the break. Before we go tonight, Behind the Lights with Lauren Stallone. Julie back with us as well. As you mentioned, it is prom season, Lauren.
End of May, beginning of June is really when we start to see people get into that prom mode. And it's a lot of fun. Social media has really transformed the way that we think and we look at prom. Fashion has become a really big thing, especially transition videos. So you get to see, like we have here, the before and after. And it's a lot of fun. People are breaking away from that traditional prom look and expressing themselves, which is always great, and as well as big major promposals. I remember we had that in my year as well. So it's really fun to look back and see all the different colors and all the different outfits and just people having fun with it and celebrating their last year of high school.
If you're going to do it, lean into it, right? Especially
absolutely.
With the social media aspect. I think my time in high school just predated social media. The bigger thing was for yearbooks. You would have the prom, so the yearbook was our social media experience for prom that I did not go to my prom, which I think
that's okay. It was a little overrated.
I ended up at it was a summer camp kind of thing on that same weekend that I'd gone to every year leading up to that, and so it was kind of my grade 12 year. My prom was that summer camp experience with a bunch of people that I knew from 4 years now.
I went to a couple proms, and I think because I had an OAC year, so a lot of my friends graduated in grade 12, so we went to that prom, and then again when I graduated in my grade 13 year, so I did attend a couple proms and maybe one other one.
For you, why not, right? Yeah, I went to one prom, which was a lot of fun. I remember, speaking of social media, that we actually had a page dedicated solely to making sure that nobody had the same dress as you. So everybody would send in their dress anonymous, so it wouldn't ruin the surprise. And it was a really creative way, now that I look back, to make sure that nobody, felt awkward or felt like anyone had the same dress as them. So it was interesting to see what social media was like then, and now it's just grown in popularity. So. And it's a chance to go back in memory lane, and we have a couple examples here as well. Yes. Some of our colleagues here. There's Rita. She looks great. It's really cool to see the fashion and how it's kind of changed from then to now. We also have another newsroom face, Scott Miller, and that is his now wife, which is really cool as well. They were matching, and again, I loved looking at the fashion and just seeing what was in and what was popular and compared to what people are wearing to prom now. And this is his son, Scott Miller, his wife, and their son, who just went to prom a couple days ago. So really cool, and it brings people together. It's a really positive way. And Julie, I know you're going to be experiencing that. Yeah, my son days. He has a couple proms coming up. So have the first one this week and then another one next week, and he is very excited. So yes, they do the whole thing though, and it definitely is has become quite the experience, all of it. So I'm excited for him though. He's pretty pumped. How do you feel? I feel a lot. But I was just thinking, we need to have a special prom for Carlyle. I feel like we need to recreate something for you. I get dressed up every day. This counts. We'll throw you one. Just go to prom right now. The prom right here. That's it for us, for all of us at CTV News London. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.